designed to encourage, empower, and educate real estate professionals by sharing best practices from business leaders that are proven winners. I'm your host, Kyle Malnati, and this is Calibrate Real Estate. Broadcasting from the Mile High City, thank you for tuning in to the Calibrate Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Malnati, and this is the podcast designed to encourage, empower, and educate you, real estate professionals. Now, as far as encouragement, that podcast intro, we don't talk about it a lot, but is the song Confident. And man, that just fires me up. I don't know about you. It's an intro that was created at the beginning of this podcast by the team of Hey Mr. Digital Media, which is based here in Denver, Colorado. And the intro music credit goes to 8-Bit Universe. And I just love that. If you're listening to the actual lyric of that song instead of just the opening part, it's, what's wrong with being confident? And I'll tell you, nothing is wrong with being confident if you have purpose in your work. Now, purpose is one of these words that I think a lot of people struggle with because it's a very existential conversation. But I believe that none of your work matters if you don't explore why you're in business in the first place. Now, a couple of different things I want to talk about here are, one, Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek did a TED Talk a number of years ago that has millions and millions and millions of downloads. And Simon talks about the golden circle. And what he does is picture a three-ring circle. The outer edge is the word what. The inner edge, but not the middle, the inner edge is how, and then the center of that circle is the word why. So what, how, and why. And Simon says that many people know and can describe what they do. If you're a real estate professional, maybe you're selling houses or you're selling apartment buildings. If you're pretty good at what you do, you can probably discuss the systems, the how of how you get to success within your business. But a lot of people struggle with describing why or communicating why to their customers. And I really think that Simon hit it right on the head that why is the most important. But you know what? Simon is not the only one to have this type of thought process. Actually, decades before Simon Sinek came along, a gentleman named Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist, and also, maybe just as importantly, a Holocaust survivor. So he really struggled and dealt with some amazing pain in his life. Viktor Frankl, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, said, when you know your why, you can endure any how. And Viktor Frankl, besides being a Holocaust survivor, became very famous because of creating what's called logotherapy, which is a form of existential analysis. Basically, why are we here? And that's what his book is about when you think about the idea of man's search for meaning. So Viktor Frankl was talking about this decades ago after the Holocaust. Simon Sinek kind of brought this back up here in the last decade with this golden circle. And Simon loves to say, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And just think about if you're a real estate agent, if you're a realtor, the American dream of owning a home. The American dream of owning a home is something that's been discussed a lot lately. There's a lot of people that believe that that dream is dead. Well, I'm here to say it's not. And I will share with you that Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which he coined in a paper called The Theory of Human Motivation, the basic needs that all humans have are, one, food, and then two, shelter. Before you get into anything like well-being or connectivity with other humans, you've got to have food, you've got to have shelter, warmth, things of that sort that are just your basic fundamental needs. And the fact that shelter is so inherent to the human existence, and as a realtor, you have the ability to intersect into someone's life in such a meaningful, purposeful exchange of buying or selling a home. That's real purpose. That's real meaning. So what I'll just share with you today is that Healy, our featured guest, is doing a keynote speech. He brought down the house. I'll tell you what, everybody was just amazed at Roger's presentation. And Roger's is talking about the power of why, the power of purpose. And I think that it's really important that if you're going to be successful in business, that you are driven by a powerful purpose. Otherwise, that success will seem meaningless. It'll seem empty. And I've been there. There's been times where I've felt like, man, I've climbed the mountaintop. And then I'm like, well, what's next? And if you do that, you can realize at times if you're climbing that mountaintop and you don't have a powerful purpose behind it, it all of a sudden just becomes about you. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to serve others. We're here to win as our clients win. And so I just love this conversation with Rogers Healy. Before we get to that, again, our moderator for the event was Amy Campbell, a 30 under 30 honoree. And Rogers is also a 30 under 30 honoree. I'd like to give a shout out and say thank you to the producer of our podcast. Now, we don't talk about our producer very often, but every single episode is produced in-house at Calibrate Real Estate by Kayla Davis. Kayla has been with our company for almost a year. She's going on her 1-year anniversary, and one of her major objectives was to get this podcast off the ground and really provide a big amount of excellence with that. And I just am so happy with all the work that Kayla has done. I've had a couple of podcasts in my life. I've had the Calibrate Real Estate podcast and the Kyle Malnati show. And I produced a lot of the Kyle Malnati show myself. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot of work. And so I'm so thankful that Kayla Davis is at the helm, and she is turning the knobs and pushing things and making them go. So thank you, Kayla Davis. Well, here's our featured episode. Again, this is an excerpt of our entire day-long event here in Denver, Colorado. It was a real estate conference hosted by Calibrate Real Estate. And take it away, Amy Campbell, as she introduces my friend, Rogers Healy. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you around the neighborhood.
He formed his brokerage in 2007 and has grown to 225 agents. So he has a long list of accolades during his career, and I'm going to read some of them. So, yeah. So Realtor Magazine, 30 Under 30 in 2009, 40 Under 40 by both the Dallas Business Journal and Collin County Business Press, Dallas Morning News Business Person of the Year in 2011. That one's really cool. 2017 Best Residential Real Estate Company by Wealth and Finance International magazine, and his companies are consistently named the best places to work in Dallas. Whew. And I probably missed a few, right? All right, so I know you guys all made a lot of effort to be here, but I think the applause should go to Rogers because he had an interview this morning with Fox Business News, hopped on a plane to be here, and is leaving this afternoon. So thank you for making all that effort. So he's a faithful Christian and enjoys spending his free time with his girlfriend and 3 dogs on his ranch in East Texas. So without further ado, please welcome Rogers Healy.
Okay, I'm going to sit down for a little bit because I got a bad back, and like she was saying, we've kind of had a long day, and if you guys are over the age of 30 and over the height of 6 feet, you know that your legs and your back are not your friends. The last guy was really good. All right, so let's just start with that. So yeah, you guys doing okay? This is pretty cool, right? Who in here is a full-time realtor? All you guys, right? Who in here is not a planner? Right? Okay, I tell you guys this because I'm just so impressed with Kyle and his team. This was something that, I don't know, we connected probably 5 or 6 months ago to come up here and do this. And their follow-up has been impeccable. And by the way, I'm going to read off my piece of paper, so just bear with me. Their follow-up has been impeccable. I'm just so jealous of their systems. And a lot of you guys probably struggle with kind of being strategic and putting stuff together like myself. And just to give you kind of a little bit insight into my life, I wrote this speech on Monday. So, right? So yeah, I've been looking forward to being here today. It's really, really cool to see you guys. And something I'm going to kind of make a pivot with what I'm going to talk about today, because I have never seen a room of 30 under 30s under 30. Right, so some of us, like the OGs, Koki, and a few of the rest of you guys, like I'll be 40 in like 2 years. So to see you guys on this side of the room and a couple of the rest of you guys that don't really have gray hair, it's really neat. And I hope you guys are proud of yourself, and I hope that you embrace it, and I hope you realize that like all this stuff, it doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme. But as you're accomplishing it, you got to celebrate it. And that was such a big regret for the majority of my life. This is a huge deal. This is a themed conference, right? You guys know what the theme is. It's like burning out. A lot of you guys, anybody in the room under the age of 25? Yeah, they're in real estate, like under the age of 30, full-time real estate. Pay attention. All right? I tell you that because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the beginning of my journey. The word burnout to me, it just didn't make sense. And we sit up here today and we see Amanda, who's, I've known, you guys, like, I have the world's biggest highlighter at my office because of you. It's like the size of a like uncomfortably large cucumber. But you sit up here with 4 other women that have unbelievable stories, and one of the guys said balance doesn't exist. Like, that's balance to me. I don't get that. And your job before being a realtor is a mom and hopefully a wife, and I think everyone up there had a wedding ring on, including Amanda, so congrats. But that's so impressive, guys. The most unimpressive thing about this to me today is nobody in this room works for me except for Brian. So that's on me, and that's Brian over there. He's one of our judges. So I heard a story recently, and I'm kind of a storyteller. That's kind of my way of delivering these speeches and getting people involved, and it's about a 6-year-old girl. So the last speech was about a 13-year-old girl, and mine's about a 6-year-old girl, so I'm sure we'll end up on the news. But it's about a 6-year-old girl that wasn't really into paying attention, didn't really apply herself, kind of like how I was up until a few minutes ago. And she was in a drawing class. She sits in the back. You guys are in sales. Everyone in this room sat in the back of the room, probably in class, right? Like, just me? Yeah, but she sat in the back of the room, and the teacher always knew that she was never paying attention, but this one day in particular, she was engaged. And the teacher was fascinated, and she went up to her, let's say her name was Rogers, and she said, "Rogers, what are you drawing?" And she said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the lady said, the teacher, she said, "Well, no one knows what God looks like." She said, "Give me a minute, and I'm going to show you." So what I'm going to do for you guys today is I'm going to paint a picture. I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to show you something from inside my head, inside my heart, and hopefully it touches you and changes some kind of mindset that you've had prior to right now. So nobody in this room, nobody except for people in this room knows how a realtor really feels, right? Like, anybody here married to someone who's not a realtor? Right? Yeah, that's tough. They don't get it. They don't understand what it's like to work every single day. Literally, like every single minute. And especially the hard part for me is, like, have you guys been rejected in the business yet? You guys, like, I'm not trying to hoorah Tony Robbins, but, like, it's hard. It's hard. And earlier, we were talking about people that don't work with you because they're your friends and your family. That's hard, especially your first go-round. But for me, the hardest part was building this journey, right? It was about being a part of it and about having an ego and all these things that I thought made sense at the beginning, and they didn't. That was really, really tough. But most people never understand that unless they're in this business, and even more so in this room. Okay, I live in Dallas, Texas, and we've got 30,000 realtors in Dallas. 30,000. I met a guy that is from Milwaukee. Where are you? Raise your hand. Yeah, Kel, right? Kel? Yeah, Milwaukee has 8,000 realtors. That's crazy. You guys know how much the average realtor makes? It's like, yeah, right, negative. I mean, it's like $9,000. Most people don't last longer than 4 months in real estate, which means no matter what, when you walk in the room, what are you? You're a statistic. It's tough. And you hear this stuff. And I was never proud to talk about what I did for a living until I figured it out. So, has burnout ever happened to you guys? Raise your hand. Anybody in this room found their why? Like the reason? Yeah, raise your hand. That's really cool. Have you found your why? My journey with real estate, it started almost 20 years ago. Who in here is under the age of 25? A camera guy back there. Almost 20 years ago. Within 16 years, guys, there's been multiple occasions, probably like a lot of you guys, where I thought about exiting. Right? Like, I've hit a wall, I've crashed through it, I've gone all the way through the wall, I've probably gone and built the wall, built it back up, tore back down again. And I thought about life on the other end of the transaction. Right? Like, what would it be like to be a client? Like a client that's not in real estate. And anybody in here, who in here owns their own company? Right? You're all business owners, but who has like a company with LLC of employees working for you? You know, it'd be super nice for me is to not have to answer to my employees. It's like every single day I got 50 million things going on, nonstop. And you guys feel me on that? Right? Nonstop. And people that have like desk jobs, what are their hours? 9 to 5. You know what our hours are? It's 5 to 9, at least. It's 8 days a week. You feel me? You guys got it? Yeah? 8 days a week. So for me, that would always happen. And there's that one question that like would never escape my mind. What's a vacation? You guys get it? You know what realtors take when they go out of town? They take a trip. They take a trip. And what do we do if we want to get busy? Plan a trip. Right? I fly Southwest. You know why? I can cancel an hour before and I get my money back. I'm not even kidding you. I'm a big superstitious guy. I'll plan a trip sometimes by myself just to cancel it. Literally, because I just know I'm gonna press enter. Hey, Rod, yes, I'm available, right? It's like no one wants to go to Boise in the wintertime. So anyway, I'm assuming this has probably happened to you guys in your real estate life. Am I right? Yeah. So I like real estate. Like I really do. I don't know if I'd say I love it, but for me, I love the fact that I'm a broker. I love the fact that I get to train agents. I love the fact that I get to train my agents. Who in here gets to train their people, right? It's empowering. It's a cool feeling. And that's my job. It's what I get to do. That's really, really fun to me. But for me, that didn't happen without a lot of pain, like emotional roller coasters, right? Like I'm not here to fire you guys up. I'm just here to speak some truth, at least about my situation. But yeah, it's been hard. It's hard every single day. I'm sitting back there drinking my water like I do, and one of my buddies from work is here, and I got an email, the guy quits. That's fine. That's hard. I don't care what anyone says. You guys are successful in this business because you sold one thing better than anyone else. You know what that was? Yourself. I heard that advice when I was in high school. I'm a terrible student. I'm going to get to that in a second, too. And I heard that. I was like, well, damn. I don't have to worry about anything other than just being good at selling myself. But it's hard. It'll drain you. It'll take your money. It'll take your time, and you're doing this nonstop. You get a call for a $29 million buyer from Saudi Arabia or wherever the heck they were from. No one else is going to answer that phone call except for you, because you're good. I get it. So for me, I want to know if you guys have ever felt this way. Raise your hand. If you haven't, good for you. And if you haven't, you haven't done it long enough. And I'm sorry to burst your bubble. So for me, I want to show an idea of what my vacation is with you guys. My name is Rogers Healy. I'm the CEO and founder of the Rogers Healy Companies. I'm out of Dallas-Fort Worth, like I told you guys already. But if you guys have been a part of my journey for longer than 2 years, you know I've started more than 3 companies. And again, that's another speech, and that's another probably conference on just failure. But I got 3 still standing, and I'm really proud. I started my real estate company, Rogers Healy & Associates, about 13 years ago. I was 26 years old. I had been working for other real estate companies for like 4 years. In Texas, where Jared and I are from, and a few other people, one of the ladies on the Working Mom panel, back in the day, you had to have your real estate license for 2 years. That's it. An active license, and you could go start your own company. That's it. Now you got to have it for 4 years, and you got to have a thing called credentials. So for me, I was like, let's just press fast forward, let's get it going. Okay? And then I started my company. 6 months later, what do you think happened? Market crashed. Something I was going to add to you guys, what the guy was talking about earlier. 2 things I would watch. I'm not a book reader. I like to read Facebook. There's 2 movies you should all watch. One is The Big Short, and the other is Moneyball. I think Moneyball is the absolute best business movie you can ever watch. It's got Brad Pitt in it, which doesn't hurt, but it also has got Jonah Hill. But it just taught me some stuff. I tell you guys that because one of the things I learned throughout my business journey is when I started my real estate company, and we're going to get to it in a second, it was great. The market took a dump. Or it did. It took a dump. I was like, how can I word this, right? But like, the guy earlier said the F word, so I can say take a dump. So I diversified my portfolio, which I didn't know what that meant either. I have an advertising degree, but I started a property management company. And if anybody in here, like you guys like football, who here played football in high school? Okay, raise your hand if you wanted to play offensive line, or you didn't want to play offensive line, but you still had to because you were overweight and tall. There, my guy in the back, right? All the guys with the beards. Yeah, cool. So property management is the offensive line of real estate. But we've been doing that for 9 years. It's awful. We get our butt kicked every single day. No one ever called and says, hey, thank you so much for not giving me back my security deposit. Right? It's terrible. The thing I do that I love doing more than anything else is relocation. This is a business that is it's super fun. That's what Brian does with me. But my niche, or at least I thought my niche, that I tried to dominate was like celebrities, right? Pro athletes. And I've been able to do some stuff with some guys in here, but the relo business is definitely the most fun thing. And a shout out to myself. We've got a sign-in sheet we want you guys to use because we've been able to go and use this network, the 30 Under 30 network, to do majority of our deals. So I'd encourage you guys to do that. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a 7-year journey. But I'm not here today to tell you guys about how great I am. It's, you know, it's not about me, and it's not about how great like my companies are. But that's not what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. I'm here to shed some light on something you guys probably don't want to talk about, and that's burnout. Okay? And I'm assuming, like we talked about, this has happened to you guys. And it's all relative, okay? Like burnout to me, I'm an extremist. Most people in sales are extremists. And like you've seen today, you know what the one thing successful people love talking about is? Themselves. Like, look at 2 slides ago. Literally, 2 slides ago, that was one of the best moments of my entire life. I put a billboard up in the city of Dallas, Texas. I spent my entire year's marketing budget on 3 weeks. And I'm seeing returns finally, but that was incredible. But then I got burned out. It got burned out. So throughout my life as a real estate person, like I told you guys, I've hit a wall. Hard. I've crashed through it. I've done it again over and over and over. But my biggest regret when I was doing this and I was trying to figure out what my why was I never asked for help. The guy earlier, 2 people ago, mentioned the word vulnerability. You guys know what that word like really centers around? It's like being raw, like asking for help. And I think there's a common denominator, or there's just a parallel between people that love talking about themselves and people that don't like asking for help. And that was me. I was constantly on the defensive. And is Shannon in here? Shannon King? So Shannon, Koki, Rob, and a guy named Brian Copeland and Nobu Hata. Have you guys seen the movie Up? He's the kid from Up. I love Nobu. He's a great guy, and his kid is like the cutest little Eskimo baby. But they changed my perspective. I was asked to be, I wasn't one of the founding people like Amanda was mentioning, but I was asked, I think 2 years in, to be a part of this YPN thing. And I was like, I had hair down to here. I'd started my company, and I thought I was like elite. And I go to DC, and I'm in the worst mood because I was missing time at my desk and time at my office, which means I was missing what? Opportunity to do what? Make money. Stupid. And I saw her in the hallway. And I just said, because we like connected over something. She was living in Austin. This is like 18 cities ago before she's in Honolulu now. And I just said, I was like, this is the biggest waste of time. She's like, I just got 2 deals from it today. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, I just got a deal in Austin from somebody that's in like Seattle or something. I was like, this is incredible. But I was always on the defensive. And I never asked for help. And guess what happened? Burned out. I fled. I fled the business. I would literally like get out of town. I'd stop answering my phone call. Then I fled my personal life. I'm hoping you guys haven't had this happen to you, but I'm assuming a lot of you guys have. I'm 38 and I have a girlfriend now, but I'm 38 and like single-ish for a reason. I sold out. So we've successfully made it through, all of us, and congrats. And again, like the amount of money that is made in this room is incredible, but it's not everything. But we've made it through the pledgeship. Anybody here like a frat or sorority person? Yeah, same. So we made it through pledgeship. Pledgeship to me was the biggest hell of my entire life. Real estate to me is like, it's like the Hunger Games. It's Hunger Games. You guys seen that movie? Yeah. How many people survive in the Hunger Games? 1, okay? But this is a little bit different because there's a few thousand too. Yeah, right? Whatever the thing is. But that's real estate to me. And I got into this, and I'd walk into rooms, guys, that were a little bit bigger than this. And I started when I was 21 years old. And I'd walk into rooms with people that were my parents' age, that had name tags on, no offense. And I was miserable. And I was like, why is there nobody else under the age of 50 doing this? And then I saw the people come and go. I saw them come and go. And I was like, damn, they're coming and going, which means I'm going to have staying power. I lasted. So did you guys. And a lot of you guys are a little bit older than me, which is even more impressive. But if you guys could have seen this business in the early 2000s, there was nobody even close to your age. Nobody. It was crazy. So for me, before real estate, like I was looking for a job, right? I was looking for a job. I wanted something that was going to make me money. I literally tried like almost anything, like within, ethical boundaries for like 3 or 4 minutes. That's what I would do. And earlier on the panel, one of the girls was talking about, no, it wasn't a panel, it was the lady by herself. I forget her name. When in doubt, like call every girl here Jordan or Amy. Have you all noticed that? So Jordan or Amy, and they're either from St. Louis, like the whole table over here with Lucy, Chicago, or DC. That's like everyone from 30 under 30. She was talking about, I lost my train of thought. She was talking about somebody, whatever, we're going to talk about jobs, okay? Like I didn't know what a career was or a job was, and I tried everything. I was a sandwich artist, literally. I worked there for 2 weeks. And then I was a video game consultant at you guys remember Blockbuster Video? I used to work there. And then Blockbuster led me to getting a job with Sony PlayStation. I quit, and here's a fun one. You guys know what most realtors don't have when they start out? Money, unless their parents have money, which that wasn't my situation. I was a financial advisor. You guys talk about cold calling. I was 22 years old, or 21, working for a place called Solomon Smith Barney. And I literally it was like boiler room. It was like kind of fun for like the 3 hours that I worked there. And I'd call people. I'd be like, hi, this is Rogers Healy, and I have $8 to my name, but I want to give you guys financial advice. And I just saw these themes, and I just kept quitting. But my favorite one of all, you guys, anyone here like watch movies? You know where they used to film movies back in the day? A place called Healywood, California. I moved there. My last name's Healy, Healywood, okay? I moved there, and I obviously was a very successful actor. Have you guys seen my movies? Yeah, obviously I was a failure. I did nothing. I went out there, I lived out there for 10 or 11 months, and I learned things throughout the way which I didn't understand until later, but I did every single thing I could think of, except for real estate. So as cliche and as cheesy as it sounds, real estate found me, right? You guys, anyone else had that situation come up? Like, I wasn't born into a real estate family. My dad sells life insurance. I grew up around sales, but I was lazy as hell. But after you do something like 17 times, I literally did every single job you guys can think of. And in high school, you guys know like the senior superlatives? Anyone in here voted like best athlete or best looking? Here were mine. Most likely to return as a substitute. Biggest kid in an adult body. Most likely to live at home, literally, and most likely to be broke. How about that? And these are supposed to be like the things that launch you into college. So I got this, and I kind of have it framed in my head, which it's probably like underneath a huge burn pile now, but I saw this, I was like, damn. It's like, I'm just born to suck at like everything. So for me, real estate found me, and I had no reason other than to succeed. I had no reason other than to drive. I couldn't quit. So I began my journey, and I began to find my why. Okay, you guys understand what I'm saying when I say find my why? Like, it's my reason. Okay, and if anybody in this room thinks their reason is money, find another reason. I'm going to tell you why. So in my quest to find my why, I wanted to prove to everyone that had ever doubted me that I was worth something. And guess who that was? It was everyone. Everybody, which means what was on my shoulder? Huge chip. Huge chip. We're talking like a 10-year big chip that you have to like get off with like some kind of surgery. And I didn't care what I had to do to get there, guys. I just had to get there. But the thing I didn't know is I didn't know where was. And as you guys can probably guess, just by looking at me and realizing that I put this together 2 days ago, and I'm so sorry again, because they're like, where is it? I was like, it's in my outbox in 2 weeks. But I was not a good studier, like at all. You guys remember the SATs? Yeah. ACTs, all that stuff. I learned how to network early on. I got into college because I went to the admissions director, Irma Herrera, every single week for 3 years, literally. And I was a C- average in high school. Okay, so studying I wasn't like a love-hate relationship. It was like a hate-hate relationship. And the irony of this is in Texas and like all the rest of these places, what do you have to do to practice real estate? You have to pass a test. You have to pass it. You have to pass the test to go and even try real estate. All right, I'm going to shift gears real quick. Why do you guys think this picture is important to me? Who is that? Yeah, it's the greatest two-sport athlete of all time. Most marketable athlete in my mind of all time. My favorite athlete of all time. Why do you think I love this picture? You think it's because he's a client? I'm taller than him, right? Yeah. Go back one, please, Ryan. I took the real estate exam 21 times. Duh, dead serious. 21 times. I got a job. Anyone in here ever waited tables? Same. For 8 months at Papados. You know why? I had to pay for my real estate exam. $72 a pop. Literally. It took me 6.5 months to pass my real estate exam. I'll give Brian some comfort here. I passed my broker's exam the first try. I took it 21 times. So Deion Sanders and I, we have a special bond. And he is a client of our company now, and his son also is one of our associates. But I'm going to show you another picture. One more, please. Who's that? Emmitt Smith. Why do you think this picture is important to me? He's the greatest cowboy of all time. I'm from Dallas, Texas, right? Wrong. I passed the test on number 22. Number 22. And guess who went out to celebrate with me that night? Not Emmitt Smith, but this is a picture of Emmitt Smith and me. And he's not a client Yeah, he's got a real estate company in Dallas, but yeah. That was kind of funny. That's pretty funny, right? Okay, good. So we're getting you guys back in the game. It's late in the day, I get it. So here I was a long-haired, felt like an incredibly awesome 22-year-old, and I was working for a larger brokerage, like a really, really large brokerage. There was like 1,000 people in this brokerage. That's not Photoshop, by the way. So you guys know who that is on the right? Yeah, and who's on the left? That was the Raj. That was my nickname back in the day. Yeah, I used to shave my chest, and if you guys look closely, what this little thing, this was I spray tan now, but this was a tanning bed. That later turned into a melanoma, so that freckle is now gone. I'm kidding, it was skin cancer. But yeah, that's not Photoshop, but that was me, guys. I was 22 years old. I thought I was Tarzan, meet Fabio, meet some like Donald Trump. But I had one mission. I wanted to dominate. I wanted to take over. I never tasted that before. I never made a sports team in high school or middle school, unless I went to private school, and then my parents took me out because it's too expensive. I was never good at anything. Nothing. My only calling card is that I was funny. You know why I was funny? It was a defense mechanism. You know what I learned real on about being funny? If I make fun of myself first, guess who's not making fun of me? You. And if you make fun of me, it's not as funny as me first. That was my calling card. So I had a mission, and my why drove me. It woke me up early in the morning. Who in here wakes up before 5 o'clock in the morning? Giddy up. Same. I got up at 3:30 today. Why drove me. It kept me up at night. Who here stays up past 10 o'clock at night? Not me. I used to. I didn't like caffeine. I still don't, but I used to chug iced tea to stay awake. And then I used to chug green tea, and then I just discovered some weird fungus. So for me, yeah, it was my reason. And I was waking up early, I was staying up at late night, it took over my dreams, and most importantly, guys, it took over my life. And if you guys are about to experience this, I hope you can press pause and listen to this part of it. It took over my life. And everything around me revolved around one thing. Guess what that was? Winning. Way before Charlie Sheen, it was winning. And it was awful. I was going 100 miles per hour, 24/7, and I thought I was invincible. You guys know that feeling, if you felt it before? And in my mind, I was on a path of success. I was making money. I was making a lot of money. I was making $200,000 in college doing apartment leasing, right? I didn't come from any money. And in Texas back in the day, you do an apartment lease, your commission was the first month's rent. It's crazy. 21 years old doing this, and people knew me. And in my mind, I thought people respected me. So it was a drug. I've never done drugs. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never done anything else, even though like we land here, and it's like the first thing we see is like some leprechaun that says, "You want to smoke my sleeve?" So it was something I'd never experienced before, and I would go anywhere for a deal. Anywhere. You guys know what farming means? Like farming's an old school tactic, right? Farming means you're going to farm what? Like a neighborhood. I farm the world. We still do, but I would literally farm my world. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd show an apartment to make $50, I'd drive 50 miles across town to make $5,000, I'd go back the other way to make $80. 9 o'clock at night on a Friday. I had no life. So that was it, and I thought people respected me like I said, but it was a drug. And then the best thing that would happen at that time in my life, or the least fun, is that I had people that I grew up with, right? The best realtors, the word that I like to associate with people that are really good at real estate is they're popular. What does popular mean? They know you. Like Hitler was popular. He wasn't well liked. But up until that time in my life, I was really popular because everyone knew me. I was the funny fat guy, and I was the funny fat guy with a goatee. And then I was like the funny-ish guy that lost a bunch of weight, and everyone thought I had surgery. And I was like, no, I just actually started exercising. But I did this, but I just assumed because I was in real estate, all my friends were going to call me and say, what? I want to hire you. Guess what happened? They didn't. So my stance quickly became, you're my friend, you're not going to hire me, guess what? We're not friends. I got really, really good at burning bridges. Like flawless. And now one of my whys is going and trying to build those bridges back. And I'll tell you right now, that sucks. You guys seen Billy Madison? That was my favorite movie as a kid, right? You probably tell a lot. That scene where Steve Buscemi's putting on his lipstick and he's got like that people to kill list. I'm on like 5,000 people to kill list. So later on, like I told you guys, my why would be to go and build those bridges back up. But don't get me wrong, I never got close to the unethical side of things, but I got really close to selling my soul like for a commission. It was weird. And you guys reach that point in your career where you're making enough money, like you're comfortable. It's a weird thing, right? And all of a sudden it's not about the money, it's about the deal. That's just as unhealthy. So for me, I was getting awards. I was getting recognition. Like the 30 under 30 thing back when I got it, if anyone in here like first year that you just got it, it's awesome. That was the coolest moment of my entire life. I can tell you exactly where I was, who I was with, and the feeling I had. I'm dead serious. I was at my ex-girlfriend Sloan Looney's house. Her ex-boyfriend was Jay Cutler. I found out he was trying to kick my butt. I got a phone call from this lady that used to work at Realtor Magazine, and she told me that I got it. And I started crying. I was like, it's unbelievable. 30 under 30. That's crazy. And guess what it wasn't based on, which was the coolest part? Production. Everyone had an angle. I'm about to show you mine in about 15 minutes, my picture. And when I got that, my ego just got even bigger. I was the celebrity realtor, right? Not happening. So for me, it was new, and I thought I loved it. And then boom. Dead. Gone. I was miserable. I couldn't do it. And I thought I loved real estate, then I didn't like it at all. I lost deals. You guys lost a deal? Remember that first big deal you lost? Right? Sucks. I lost my friends because they didn't hire me. And I treated them like crap. And then what's worse than working with a friend? Ready for this? Family. What's worse than not working with family? Or what's worse than working with family? Not working with family. I missed a few Thanksgivings in my day. Literally. And it caused a civil war with my family because my mom and my dad and my sister are always going to defend me. Stupid. I had to do phone duty. You guys remember this one? Anyone ever done phone duty? What do you guys think that means? Like property calls. Twice a month. Saturdays and Sundays from 9 until 3, I had to sit up there and answer the phone. In my mind, what was I? Secretary. Mrs. Rogers. It's awful. I had to do open houses. You guys like open houses? They work now. But back in the day, I was not an open house fan. I had to buy marketing pieces. You guys remember that? You spend like $5,000 or whatever, $15,000 getting your real estate license, or whatever, a few $1,000 bucks, and all of a sudden you get a listing. What do you have to do with the listing? You got to pay for it. What do you mean? They didn't have camera phones back then. I used to take a disposable camera and go to Eckerd and get it printed out and scanned to save like $6. It doesn't work that way. It was awful. And all this stuff started to build up. I had to make cold calls, which, by the way, I like cold calls. I think it builds thick skin. But after the cold call, what did I have to do? My least favorite thing in business, I had to follow up. I sucked at it. I still do. Obviously, I suck at it. I had to work on weekends, which means, guess what? Every day in this business is what? It's Monday. I love that now, but every single day in this business is a Monday. I had to spend money to make money. I had to get trained. And here's a good one. I had to keep studying. They never tell you when you pass that test, you got to go take continuing education. You got to pass it, too. In Texas, it's open book, and you get to take it 3 times. I spent 3 weeks ago, I spent my entire weekend. I was like, I can't fail this. I can't fail it, right? And like I talked earlier, I couldn't take vacations with family and friends, which led to another dreadful thing. I had no hobbies. Anyone feel that? You guys understand that? You know what my hobby was? It was real estate. Your hobby can't be your work. I don't care what anybody tells you. Nobody loves working more than they love their family, more than they love their God, more than they love their friends. Nobody. But that was me. And it cost me business in the long run. I thought I was being so smart, but I outworked everybody. And that was my only thing I did in my mind better than anyone I'd ever met, is I outworked them, which in my mind, when I had to work longer hours. And my least favorite thing about real estate that had me burn out the first time is I had to always be professional. I'm not a political person. I'm not a political person. It was hard. But there's a saying that goes like this. You ready for it? The higher up you get on the ladder, the easier it is to shoot you down. Which means everybody at one point, once you're successful in this business, is waiting for you to do what? Fail. They want you to fall what? On your freaking face. They want to be right there with you when you fall. Anyone felt this before? Do it longer. Unfortunately, you will. I hated it. I was burned out. 3 years in the business, by the way. I'm 25 years old at this time. And I was done. I was out. Adios. Big word I like to use is mindset. It was changing. And I thought I hated real estate. It was like my newest version of studying, a real advanced version of hate. And I had to get out of town, right? You guys ever had that moment where you're just like, oh my God, every house is the same, like every client's awful, like I hate this, like I have to go. I was burned out. And I got a phone call. Within 20 minutes of me having this like pivotal moment in my entire life, which I thought was going to change everything, my phone rang. It was my roommate. He said, hey, we're going to go out of town tomorrow. We're going to go skiing, and you want to come? Which, I was always the political invite, right? People, no one ever expects a successful realtor to say yes to anything unless it benefits them 100%. And I said, sure, I'm in. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm in. The reason I was in, my roommate at the time was a really, really good athlete, and he'd never been skiing. And I grew up skiing. So what did I have the opportunity to do? Win. So here we are, my roommate and I, and at that point in my life, my why came back in. It wouldn't leave. It was February 23rd, 2007. My roommate had a really, 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 really bad day the day before. He lost his company an opportunity to go in advance, make a lot more money. And I was just miserable. So I was having a bad couple months. We went up, we chatted up on the slopes, which is such a stupid white boy thing to say. I shouldn't have said that. We went and chatted it up on the slopes, okay? We probably had a bread bowl with chili and we were drinking a beer. When you write a speech and you try to read it, as you're reading the speech, you're like, what a dork. So on day 2, guys, midway up the lift, I opened up about how I was just tired of the real estate business. And I guarantee you guys have probably felt this feeling. I was tired of it. I wasn't tired of working. I didn't mind that. I wasn't tired of business, but I was tired of real estate. I didn't want to be a realtor, right? Like a realtor, right? You see those come out, I'm like, oh my God. It wasn't my thing. I do not like name tags. It wasn't my thing. And I was surrounded by people that every single day they had, and if you guys do this, more power to you, 2 name tags. One for work, one for social. Guess what's on the social one? Glitter. And I would see this and it would drive me crazy. And most importantly, out of all the people I worked with at my company at the time, I didn't want to have lunch with them. So what happened? You guys know who that is? The kicker? Just kidding. So Tony Romo, my roommate at the time, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, the day before, the Cowboys lost to the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs. Are you from Seattle? Nice win. He botched the fumble, or he botched the snap. And we had perspective. And if you guys aren't a Tony Romo fan, hopefully you will be now, because he's a good man. He's a man of God and a good father and husband. But he looked at me just like in a very Seinfeld approach. Like, why is Seinfeld such a popular show? What's it about? Like nothing. Like life. And it's just like so simple. He looked at me, he's like, well, why don't you just start your own real estate company, and that way you get to pick and choose who works with you, and you get to pick when you work. I was like, all right, Romo, we got a deal, right? So we went out that night and we celebrated. I found out my why. I was going to change real estate. That was my reason. I couldn't quit. I put 3 years into this business. Who in here has done it longer than 3 years? Good for you. Longer than 5 years. 10. All right? It's crazy. I couldn't quit. I had experienced something I had never experienced before. That's called compounding, which means all the work I put in 2 years ago was starting to pay off, right? Right? Like you said, like you want to go and make money based on what's going to happen 5 years from now. So for me, my mindset changed. So I was now a self-proclaimed mature 26-year-old with really long hair, ready to set the world on fire. Again, you guys remember these T-shirts I did? No? No one does? My parents do. So every time I see myself wandering in the world of the normal, I catch myself and I remind myself something that's very, very powerful. And like I said earlier, I'm a Christian man, and this is something that's just a really cool saying. And God doesn't call the equipped. You guys know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm talking about? He equips the called. One more time. He doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. No matter your religious background, remember that, please. Right? Like I think the coolest animal is an eagle. It's an eagle. What does an eagle wait to do until it's called? It waits to fly, and it soars. It's crazy, and ironically, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. So for me, I'd found my why again. I had a reason. I wanted to change an entire industry. Ignorant as hell, 26 years old, there's probably a million realtors back in the day. I wanted to change it, and I thought that I could. But guess what didn't come with my why? Somebody guess. Like a puppy? No. A business plan. You guys know what a business plan is? I didn't. I didn't know what that was. I was an aspiring 26-year-old with a degree in advertising, literally a MySpace account, some skinny jeans, and thank God no girlfriend. Okay? By the way, if any of you guys are going to start a company, like the girl Amy that did it like 10 days before birth, more power to you. If I would have been in a relationship back when I started this company, like God knows what would have happened. So for me, it was the perfect combination. I was going to launch the biggest real estate company in the world. You guys heard that, right? The biggest. The biggest real estate company in the whole world. I had no idea what I was doing. None. I didn't know how to lead. And do you guys know what the term emotionally intelligent means? I didn't. I wasn't emotionally intelligent. And I had zero systems, right? Salespeople and systems don't go hand in hand. There's a really cool quote by Frank Sinatra. You guys heard this? People pay me to sing. Great quote. What does that mean? They don't pay him to do what? Sell T-shirts, sell tickets, clean up. It's like I heard that. I was like, well, I'm a singer. You can't be a singer and have a company at the same time. But what I had now was something different than I'd ever had before. I had self-esteem, which is another word for what? An ego. I had an ego. So 24 hours into my company, guess what we did? Guess what we did? We sold a house. This is my college roommate, 25 years old. I was 26. He needed a job. I was like, well, get your real estate license. Come work with me. Literally 24 hours into the company, we sold a house. I thought I had it figured it out. Who here owns our company? Raise your hand. Big reason I started my company was to keep 100% of my commission. Right? Stupid. So stupid. But we sold a house. And I thought I had it figured out. I was making money. I had people working for me. And I played golf once. Right? Like golf. Anybody in here play golf to get business? Why does it have to be 18 holes? It's such a long time. I'd freak out. And this guy still works at my company now. But what happened to me the next day, it was 48 hours into the business, I had a company that, in my mind, was massive. I had 3 realtors, which is impressive. And at that point in my life, that was more than I ever thought I'd have working for me. We had a 110 square foot office. You guys know how big that is? It's about these 2 tables, right? And I was the leader. I was feeling it. And all of a sudden, someone came up to me, and I saw something on their face, and I didn't know what it was. Whoa. Tears. Hey, what's going on? She got a little bit closer. I was like, oh, my God. I was like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey, my boyfriend just dumped me. I was like, I'm not, no, hopefully your boyfriend didn't just dump you. You're married. So she told me this, and I was like, in my head, I was like, what the hell does it have to do with me? So I made the biggest mistake of my life up to that point. You know what I asked her to do? I'm like, hey, sit down. I've seen Dr. Phil like once. So we sat there, and I'm not going to tell you her name, for 5 hours. Literally. We went through 5 Kleenex boxes, and I was sitting there, and I was looking at my watch the whole time. I couldn't wait to get out of there because I had a showing. So I finally got out of there. Like I said, she went through the Kleenex boxes, and her and her boyfriend remained broken up, by the way. She's still a realtor, not for my company, but I went through, and I went to my next show, and I left. I was like, you know, what's the quote from A League of Their Own? There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in real estate. Not time to cry, especially if I lose a relationship, whatever. My quote has always been to keep it moving. And keep it moving. I'm not going to waste my time listening to somebody cry and shed their tears. So I thought it was a fluke, and I was wrong. I was really, 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 really wrong. I had gone from business of selling myself, right? I was a realtor for another company. And that's my job every single day was to sell myself. My job quickly shifted to being a manager. And guess what I was managing? People. That's it. Managing people. Guess what people come with? Their personalities. And guess what they come with on top of that? Their issues. Every single day. Knock, knock, knock. Oh, yeah, what's up? This happened. Oh, my God. Nothing had to do with real estate. Nothing. So what I did, what do y'all think I did to make a good move? What did I do? I started hiring. I was like, what's the best way to get rid of noise? With more noise. So I started doing it. I was like, this is great. I go up to people, like real estate schools, right? If you guys are looking to grow your company, a great way to do it and to get burned later on is to go to a real estate school. You go tell them your story, and you're going to be different than everyone else. I am this great. I'm accomplished, blah, 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 blah. All I cared about was if they passed their test. Pass your test, you got a pulse, welcome to the team. Literally. And we started to grow. The more people I had working for me, in my mind, the more money I was going to make, right? Hell no. Wrong. It took me almost 10 years, guys, but I finally realized the next lesson in my business journey. 10 years. crazy, 10 freaking years. And I'd sit in this room with people like Koki and Rob and Amanda, and every single time I'd see them, I had a different story. I had a different crazy girlfriend, and every time I was like, this, it's like wrong. The common denominator was like, whoever said, someone said earlier, you still dating that cute girl? I was like, that's the one for 5 months ago, right? The common denominator was me. It took me 10 years. That sucks. I wasted so much of my time. My 20s and my 30s were completely sacrificed to real estate, and I could have enjoyed it differently. And then I realized something. There's a great parallel about building a house. You can't build a house on sand. You can't. And that was my company up to that point. 10 years, by the way, guys. This was 2 years ago. So if you guys, if I met some of you guys in Chicago for that really, really hot and sweaty photo shoot, this is kind of when I started to figure it out. And I started to figure it out. I started to talk. And like I'd always lead with my story, and I was always so negative, which sucked. It sucked. But I'd figured it out. So I realized that up until that point, every single ounce of success that I had had was based off of my energy. My energy. Guess what that does? It sucks it out of you. My energy. I thought I was electric. I thought my ego was going to drive me everywhere, every single place I wanted to go. It sucked. But still, my why, unfortunately, was my desire to prove myself to everyone that I was a success. Every single person. And if I met someone and I introduced myself, I'm like, hi, I'm Rogers. You know what they would ask me? What do you do? What? I was like, have you ever been in a car? It's like, are you kidding me? It drove me crazy. So for me, that was another opportunity. There's another reason to go and have a bigger ego. So it was a ticking time bomb. Has anyone ever felt that before? Good for you. Okay, one person. Just one person. 4 people. Okay, I was a ticking time bomb. So my goals quickly shifted, guys, from being the best real estate agent and having the best real estate company, like I told you, to the biggest. That's what I thought was going to work. We started off with 3 realtors. We grew to 20. Grew to 30. 30 became 60. And if you guys know anything about real estate brokerage and you own your own company, you make money one of 2 ways. Less than 60, more than 200. And I heard that, right? And it was a statistic, and I became obsessed with it. From 60 agents to 100, from 100 to 150. And by the way, this was over the course of like 6 or 7 years. And we get these awards, like she mentioned earlier. It's a blessing and a curse. And if you get an award, like the gentleman earlier was talking about, like putting an ad out, want to love your job. Like if you're going to do that as a real estate brokerage, like make sure you know that you're talking to them as a realtor. We get these awards for best places to work. Incredible. My company got named the #1 place to work in the entire Metroplex out of 23,000 companies. 23,000 in 2011. I was 31 years old. The next day it was published in the newspaper. Guess what started happening? I want to come work for you. Yeah, of course. Like I don't even need to meet you. You want an email address? Let's go. And I started doing this. We grew from 100 to 150 agents, and from 150 agents to 350 people. It was crazy. I thought I had it figured out. Guess what I started taking? I took a vacation. And I'd laugh. And I'd sit there. I'm like, oh my God. Like, why didn't I do this earlier? And then guess what started to happen? People quit. People quit. Like my people, right? And if you guys start a company, and like he talked about earlier, it's unfortunate and so true, you can't get attached. But I get attached quick. I get attached real quick. I'm a sensitive, emotional, heart on my sleeve, kick me in the face kind of guy. But they quit. And my people that were my originals went from like 3 people to 40 over the course of 6 or 7 years. And all of a sudden, people started coming in there. And guess what it would do to the culture? It would kill it. And they would quit. And the first like 100 people that would quit me, guess how I would respond? See ya. I was angry. I was really, really angry. But I thought I had it figured out, like I told you guys. And every single day, literally every single day, for like a solid 5 or 6 years, one of these things would happen. Number 1, knock on my door. And you can just see the person you haven't talked to in a few months, right? You guys, you know that feeling. It's like there's people that work for me that I see them twice a year. Christmas party and happy hour, right? And then there's those people you see every single day, and you start to like study their tendencies. 5 minutes left. And like they would quit. And the worst thing that would happen to me out of anything is they'd send me a text message. Say, Rogers, thank you for everything. Well, you're welcome. But I'm going in a different direction. Screw you. Why? Why? Their answer? They didn't know who they were working with. They felt left out. And they felt like they were just a number. And they felt like all this revolved around me. It was all about me. Me, my company, how much work I've put in, blah, blah, blah. So my translation with this, guys, was everything I had worked for up to that point, and every single feeling I wanted to go and feel on a daily basis was the exact opposite of what I was giving my people. I let them down. Then, thank God, my why grabbed me by the throat. I'm going to be done in 2 minutes. It grabbed me by the throat. You guys ever had that feeling where it's like you cannot go and avoid it, no matter what anyone says? It grabbed me by the throat and had me down on my knees, and it was asking me for direction. Having the biggest real estate company, it's not a hard thing to do. I mean, it is, but it's not. That means you have to have numbers. And just about anybody with some time, no girlfriend, and some skinny jeans can do that. Okay? But having the best company, guess how many people can promote that? 1. That was my goal. I knew my why wasn't building and maintaining a real estate company. I had to do that. Making money is great, right? For real, it's great. Yes? It's not the greatest, though. Doing deals, like I'm a deal junkie. Anybody in here a deal junkie? Like heavy volume, like transactions. Like there's no better feeling to me than like getting a deal done, especially when you're beating 15 other people. It's a great feeling, but it's not the best feeling. Like winning awards, also really, really cool. Like raise your hand. You guys are all 30 under 30 winners, right? Guess who's going to remember that in 5 or 6 years? Nobody. Nobody. So when I threw my ego out the door and I focused on what was most important, my business, and more importantly, my life took shape. The right people started calling me. They wanted to join my firm, our firm. I finally started to become the man that God made me to be, and I started breathing. I started to breathe, and I stopped worrying. Prior to this shift in my mindset, I would worry every single year about my production. You guys know that feeling, right? Like I just would get hyper-focused, $50 million, $100 million, $1 billion, whatever. But 2 years ago, people forget about it. I get to focus on my people now. It gives me joy. So here I am now. I'm almost 38 years old, like in 2 weeks, which is crazy. Freaking crazy. 38. I got a girlfriend. I don't have skinny jeans anymore. I like to fish. And like I talked about, I have a really, really good spray tan. But I finally figured out what my why is and what drives me. Okay? And I put a post out in our Facebook group this morning, 45 seconds, and I'm done. We have a company Facebook group, and I said, hey, I'm going to go meet with these people today, and I want to know what y'all's why is. And the answers were awesome, all right? People want to go and support their family. They want to feel like they're led by Christ, and she wants to love people. My wife and 5 children can't let me down. Brian James, who's my guy over here helping me out, his why is his mom. He lost his mom. She passed away. But he wants to make her proud every single day. That is a why. So I tell you guys this because what's happened to me over time and over almost 20 years of doing this and interviewing probably 1,500 people. It's a lot of people. And I do every single interview at my company. Every single day, I get to ask them, what is your why? Every day. And I would struggle with this. And I'd find myself like wondering, what the hell is my why? Right? Like, what is my destiny? What is my journey? What's my reason? And then I realized my why is helping everybody else figure out theirs. Cheers.